How to not end up poor or bankrupt this year. How many of you can stand up and affirmatively say, I am completely financially secure? If your income source was, let's say, unexpectedly cut off, would you have enough money to sustain yourself for the next 2 years or more? It's really unfortunate what's happening in the world with the current ongoing pandemic. But if the pandemic extends for another year, where will you be financially? These are the tough questions we need to ask ourselves every day. If you found yourself uncertain with some of the answers to those questions, then you better pay keen attention to what I'm going to tell you. In fact, grab a pen and paper. You will need to take notes. 10. Analyze your current financial situation. Here's where the hard questions come in. You need to be completely honest with yourself. You need to list down exactly how much you earn, all your long-term and short-term debt, and all the expenses. The very first step to financial freedom is financial consciousness. Just like in business, where you should always know your numbers, in life, you should be 100% aware of all the money that comes in and goes out. What you need to do is grab a book that will be just for your finances, or open a folder on your computer to store this data. Make sure you note down your true financial situation and be as honest as possible. Once you've done this, you can then proceed to the next step. 9. Evaluate your spending. The next step is to look at what and where you spend your money on. This step will require you to monitor your expenditures for the next 3 months. And I know it sounds difficult and might be a bit boring. I get it. No one wants to keep a record or much less start noting down what they spend on every day for 90 days. But once you start and build momentum, believe it or not, it actually gets easier. The first few weeks will be tiresome, but after a while, it will be etched into your everyday life. And soon, you won't be able to spend a dime without noting it down. Once you have completed recording what you spend on for 90 days, you will then be able to clearly identify unhealthy trends in your expenditure. Perhaps you spend too much on coffee, or you unnecessarily buy shoes that you don't need, or have a partner who takes up too much of your income. Look at each and every item on your spending list and ask yourself if it is really necessary. And by necessary, I mean you can survive without it. For example, you can definitely survive without a new phone this year, or upgrading your television, but you can't survive without groceries. Once you've evaluated everything on the list, create a new list with only the essentials. This will be your new guide for spending. And now, here's the caveat. You can't spend anything above what is on the list. As a matter of fact, the only alterations you can make is spending less. Some steps could be taken at this point, such as moving into a smaller home, skipping vacation, selling your expensive car in exchange for a cheaper one, and also selling other depreciating assets, such as your boat, if you own one, or any unnecessary items. Also, I like the idea of applying Jay-Z's rule on money, which says, if you can't buy it twice at a go, then you can't afford it. Instead of saving up for a $40,000 car, why don't you buy a $20,000 car and save the rest, or put the rest into a more useful fund? Another priceless tip is to only splurge big on items or assets that appreciate in value. Don't buy the creme de la creme of TVs or a $3,000 suit. It won't make you any money. Instead, consider saving your money and putting it somewhere else, such as maybe in your retirement account. 8. Create a vision board. I know this is so cliche, and you've probably heard this 5 million times already, if not 10 million. But everybody needs direction.